DJ LeRoy.
NightWatchman. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm well.
All right, good, good. You're looking good. Looking good
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
I like
looking good.
I like the top. It's a nice top you got going on there. Uh,
Uh,
I have one too. Can you see?
okay, of
Ah,
course.
okay. For all the doubters and haters out there, that one is for a DJ Propaganda who was not using kind words to describe me when I talked about GSW. However, in this series, he did pick a GSW. So here,
Mhm,
Golden State all day.
mhm.
So you know what? Summer's upon us, man.
Yes.
So I definitely need to know how young people might be actually seeing this summer. Whether or
Hmm.
not they'll have some opportunities for work, internships, all those things.
Hmm.
I've lined up a little panel that I think can really discuss this. What do you think?
Let's bring them on.
All right, all right.
Mhm.
First of all, this dude, he's been here before. He's returning guest to Soul Lounge Prime Time. The one, the only, the marvelous Mr. Stephen Melton, Madison Square Boys and Girls Club. Bring him out.
Hey, everyone. Welcome.
It's
All
great
right.
My,
to see you again, Steve.
Yeah, good to
yes.
see you, Bob. DJ LeRoy is
Yeah.
always a pleasure, brother. Good to
Thank
see
you,
you.
my brother.
All
Absolutely.
right.
So, you know what? We can't have you out there alone by yourself, Steve. So, we got to bring some others. What about that other Boys and Girls Club, or more appropriately, the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem, Mr.
Yeah.
Roberto Serrano? Bring him out.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Roberto.
Roberto.
Good morning from Harlem's Boys and Girls Club, the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, you know what? A Night Watchman, we have this is a rookie season. This is our first appearance. As a
Hey,
matter of fact, I understand that you two actually share a space there at Silicon Harlem. Would you like to bring her up to the stage?
I would like to bring Alexis McQueen
Y-
to the stage. How are you?
Yes.
Hey, Alexis.
Hey,
Welcome.
Very
I'm
good.
so glad to be here finally.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
That's right. And I have to say, first of all, Alexis is one of the best fans of Soul Lounge Prime Time. She listens to the show every week, and
Wow.
um, and so it is very, very appropriate for us to finally have you on. And I think this is going to be a great show because all three of you are committed to making sure that our youth have something positive that they can engage in this summer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what, Night Watchman, because being that he's a returning guest here at Soul Lounge, and I know his journey has been inspirational. So, Steve, tell us about Madison Square Boys and Girls Club and your involvement. Because, man, once you came in, you never left.
Yeah. Hey, listen. First of all, let me to my fellow co-guests on the program here as well
Mm-hmm.
too. Let me just
Mm-hmm.
say, glad to see Alexis and Roberto again as well too, and thank you, Curtis and Bob, for having
Mm-hmm.
me again as well there too. And yeah, my history with the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club, it's been a long one. It's been a long travel. But it's good work. And I think those of us who are in the nonprofit space, who really find our passion, it becomes ministry for us, and we really want to do great work. And when it comes to serving youth, specifically of New York City, but young people of Harlem, there's much work to be done. So I'm glad that they sort of kept me around for a couple of years. 40 to be exact, to continue this great work. Hey, listen, the good news is that our doors are open. We never really closed them with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
For a time, we had to go virtual, but right away we got the doors back open, serving the community in North Central Harlem. So
Mm-hmm.
our main clubhouse in Harlem at 250 Bradhurst at 155th Street. We built this facility right before COVID. Was able to open the doors in 2020. It's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful 40,000 square foot facility with everything it needs to make youngsters' dreams come true and to get them involved. I mean, it has everything from a rooftop soccer field. It has a full recording studio with all the necessary equipment. There are dance studios. There are tech labs, there are gymnasiums, there's meeting space. So it really was built with the needs of Harlem youngsters in mind to be able to serve the work they do. So, and Madison operates 5 other clubs around New York City in the boroughs of Brooklyn and the Bronx as well too, serving young people. So young people is what we do, ages 6 to 18 years of age. We will be there this summer, opening up our doors from 8 in the morning until 6 p.m. and 3 nights a week until 9 p.m. To serve teens after they finish their workforce development opportunities that they will have. So we're here. We're glad to be back open. We're glad to serve the youth of North Central Brooklyn.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, I definitely have to say, so Roberto, you also have a beautiful building there, a former decommissioned school, PS 186. Tell us about the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem.
I'm going to start with telling you what we've accomplished. And so last week, 3 of our teens proposed an app on mental health and focus as part of the Nick Cannon entrepreneurial competition. And while we didn't win first place in this first time that we were invited, we got to 3rd place. And so they proposed that app not only by talking, but they prepared a 9-page business plan. Each of the young men prepared resumes, a 24-page slideshow, and gave a 5-minute speech. And they prepared this in 1 month. And so that's one of the things that we accomplished here at the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem. One other thing I'll add is that 4 of our teens joined a group that spoke with Ashley Biden, one of the first daughters, to really talk about racial inequality and solutions to violence. And so these are things that we've accomplished just these past 2 months, in fact. And so we are excited about continuing this work throughout the summer, working with about 160 teens within our facilities during the summer, teaching them workforce skills, preparing them for the future. One of the biggest challenges that we've all faced in this space in youth development has been that things just sort of froze. Life was hard enough growing up poor. Life was hard enough with racial violence, racial inequality, and all sorts of growing, as we all know in Harlem, growing inequality. You've got really poor, really rich, not even in a neighborhood, not even in one part, no, in the same block. And so life was already happening. And then, oh, by the way, here's a pandemic. Wham! And that's taken. So what we're doing is just getting back to business at the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem, getting our kids ready, helping them develop skills, and expanding our work throughout the areas of Harlem. And so we've got 4 sites in addition to here, our headquarters. And so in the school year in September, we're going to have 6 sites in addition to our headquarters. So we're so excited about giving our teens opportunities in the summer and just building on the work that we've accomplished with Nick Cannon and with Ashley Biden.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you know what? I definitely have to ask then, Alexis, you are a woman in a white male dominated space, construction, development, so when did you come up with the idea to really, really get young people involved in wanting to actually train them in that area, seeing our numbers increase and giving them a shot? Tell me about your journey. Oh, you're on a mute.
I really want to thank Soul Lounge for sharing our work with the community. It's such a big deal and it's so needed, and we really appreciate you guys.
Oh, thank
you. So, Curtis, to answer your question, how it came about. So we, as you know, I own Bottom Line Construction and Development. We're right here in Harlem. And we've been in business going on 12 years. So we're super excited about that. But what we noticed was, we're not a nonprofit, meaning Bottom Line Construction, but we are totally mission driven and truly concerned about our community and workforce and just getting out the exposure to the community around us. And what we noticed was when we would be participating with other workforce organizations and trying to really get the word out there about construction, development, architecture, engineering, and all those wonderful fields, that we noticed that the young people in our communities were totally disconnected from their built environment. Meaning we would talk to them because we were hiring people before we got the official nonprofit. We had interns at least a year and a half, 2 years prior. And so when we would ask the young people, oh, do you know about that building going up? Do you know what's happening over there? And they were sort of really disconnected. This is pre-pandemic. Oh, well, I'm on my way to school to the train station. And I see it going up. And I'm like, do you know what's going there? Do you know why they developed that property? Do you know all of the hands that have touched that building before it was even erected? And the answer was always consistently no. And so I realized that they didn't know about the opportunities. And sometimes, believe it or not, their parents, their elders didn't know about the opportunities that are out here. So there seemed to be a disconnect. And so in our attempt to sort of bridge some of that gap at the height of the pandemic, we decided with so many youth, youth unemployment had like doubled, youth didn't have a job. It was really tough for them. So what we decided to do is we were still working on an essential what they call essential. Affordable housing projects were deemed essential during the pandemic. And we started doing the research and working with Columbia University, any contacts we had to sort of put something together to help expose young people. So that we created Youth Construct. And basically our program is a program for youth from underserved communities to expose them to the ASED space, right? Architecture, construction, engineering, and development, and all of the opportunities. And what we focus on are the low-hanging fruit, right? So there's workforce organizations out there that will introduce young people to the labor trades and some of the other hands-on trades. So don't get confused. Our program is really not geared for that. Our program is geared for back office type positions, site positions such as project managers, assistant project managers, site supers, people who focus on quality control and quality assurance, surveyors, expediters, all of these fields that young people really hadn't been exposed to. So what we do is we bring them into the situation where they're meeting with Gilbane, they're meeting with Turners, they're meeting with developers, Artemis, CPC, and we work them through a 6-month course, which then leads them to internships. And I'm proud to say that we have about 6 youth that graduate next week that will be going into internships with Turner, Gilbane, Artemis. Not Gilbane, Artemis, don't know about Gilbane yet, but we've been working really hard, and that's it. I hope I answered your question.
Curtis, you are on mute now.
You're on mute.
Lord, that is some crazy stuff. NightWatchman, what am I doing? What am I doing? So
Hey,
well, one of the things I definitely have to say, and you heard it there, Steve, in terms of let's say internships, opportunities. So I definitely need to know one of the, I would say, life-changing aspects for me during the summer, of course, was what? SYP, Summer Youth Employment Program.
Yeah.
I need to know, Madison Square Boys and Girls Club, do tell. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, great. And that's so true. If you're a New York person and you grew up in the city of New York, you definitely were involved in the Summer Youth Employment Program. That was your way to put some money in your pocket. And
yes.
We're glad to see that our new mayor came in and really put some money into the Department of Employment and that's why Summer Youth Employment Program. So that program is in full bloom. Madison has 300 slots that we're providing for youngsters in the Polar Grounds area, specifically of young people up to ages 24, from 15 to 24, to be involved in programs. And then we have another 300 slots we're filling citywide for youngsters as well, too, as part of that process. So what we're going to do is gainfully employ young people. If you want a job and you're involved in the SYP program, we're going to put you working on a work site. So right now we have about 400 different vendors that we're going to work with putting young people in a number of different situations during the summer for them to be able to earn some money, put some money in their pocket, and learn some skills and get some exposure to other careers. So that's an important part of what we're doing. We're also looking to have another 100 youngsters who are the ages of 13 and 14 do some internship training via Zoom as well too.
Wow.
So they will have an opportunity to work with some different companies and work on very specific projects and do it through Zoom. They'll have to do research some projects, get some information, come back and report on that, all leading to some sort of capstone by the end of the summer. And then we're working with a number of our other supporters in the private sector to provide opportunities for young people. So whether it's SoundCloud, whether it's American Express, there are a number of larger companies that we're working with, and we're looking to see if there are opportunities to give youngsters really meaningful work over the course of the summer as well. We think that's important. I think many of us, that's how we got our first job. I mean, working at the youth employment program, coming in 16, getting your working papers, and making minimum wage for sure, but learning not only valuable skills and exposure, but learning that work ethic, right?
Yes.
In the morning, you had to be to work at 9. You had to be able to work with your colleagues. There's all those soft skills you needed. That's also important to make you successful. So we will be working with youngsters over the course of this summer, as we have always done, to continue to provide those opportunities for young people.
Beautiful, beautiful. Roberto, do tell your story and summer youth, because like I say, they're hungry. They want to work. I don't want to hear anything about young people who don't want to work.
Absolutely. With our 160 young people, we're going to help develop those work skills that Steve talked about. We're a vendor, so we're a work site in that case. So we're really focusing on the youngest group of SYP because we want to try and start early. So that way you're not nipping stuff in the bud. You're building a very strong redwood tree that's going to go into really meaningful careers, whether that be high tech, using our STEM approach and our curriculum through project-based learning, so they can get jobs in programming, so they can learn about the concept of computer certifications such as A+ or Security+. So once they lead into those things, they get a job that can travel all over the country. So we're going to expose them to those kinds of concepts. Also, entrepreneurial skills, soft skills, just like Steve said. Whatever field you're in, whether it's youth development, our field, whether it is broadcast, your field, whether it is science or education, you need those soft skills, because that's oftentimes what helps not only have you get the job, keep the job, and grow within the field. Leadership and management is all about communication and understanding people's needs, and yet having them meet the corporation's or the company's goals. And so these are the kind of things we want to work with our young people, ages 13, 14, and 15, to really give them a leg up, because in other communities that have a lot more money, they're learning this even earlier. So why not empower our young people as much as possible here in Harlem?
Beautiful, beautiful. And Alexis, so you have 6 young people who definitely have graduated and gotten internships. What I want to also know is, let's say your cohort, was it larger, and then some folks not necessarily meet the muster in terms of being on time, consistency? Was that one of the things that you're looking for when you actually have people join your cohort?
Sure. So some of the challenges, actually, it's 10 graduating. We started out, it's 10 graduates.
Okay, gotcha.
12, I'm sorry, somebody just corrected me. I'm sorry about that. 12 graduates. We started out with about 19.
Okay.
Really challenging for us. So we've been in existence as far as official existence, for about, I guess, 10 or 11 months. Initially was remote due to the Omicron variant. That was really hard for us.
Yes.
So we went remote, and I think the transition from remote to in-person, which we were hosted by some really great, AECOM hosted us at their Midtown office. Office space was hard, training space. We partnered with Renaissance, which is another organization that provides OSHA 40. So all of our kids have their OSHA 40 SST.
Nice.
It was just challenging. So after 2 months of virtual, we switched over to in-person. And I think that transition, I don't know if Steve, and I don't know if you guys experienced the same thing, but we sort of we did the best we could, but we sort of had a problem with getting the kids, to sort of stay committed to coming into to classes. So we did have some virtual for them, for those who, had COVID issues or any type of emergency. We provided that platform so they kind of had both. These are kids from underserved communities, so they get a stipend of $1,000. Yes, each kid gets a stipend, and it's all based on, of course, attendance, their assignments. The classes are from 5 to 7:30. They get meals. So AECOM hosted us, and they hosted all the meals, because you have to keep in mind, these kids are hunger challenged. I mean, I'm a product of these. I've suffered homelessness. I've been a mom since I was 15. And although I have 3 degrees, that was a process, and it was a 20, 30-year process. So, basically, we're just trying to fill that gap in our industry. People are quick to say, oh, we can't find. It's just like being a certified MWBE. First thing they'll say in our industry is, oh, we can't find qualified MWBEs. We can't find qualified back office talent from communities, from underserved communities. So, we're just trying to combat that. And we want to do what Stephen said, and just really let them know about all these skills that they learn with us are transferable to go. So we're just focused on, yes, we have an industry focus, but the other focus is really gritty, and it's all about being prepared. And if you don't have a direct path to college, or if you have to work like many of us did through college, we want to make sure they have, careers that have growth. And so all the careers I mentioned can lead you to the next opportunity.
Gotcha. And you know what? The Boys and Girls Clubs, both of you guys. So let's say you already have an existing model of certain things that you guys do. Absolutely. But can a content provider pitch you something new, something that you haven't thought about offering? Go ahead. Anyone.
Yeah, I would say, of course. I mean, we're always open for opportunities for young people, and I would suggest anyone that has some ideas, particularly as it relates to workforce development. I mean, always, come to us to say, look, let's talk, because I think that's what we're about. We're about looking at things differently. I think, look, the pandemic has taught us that, right? That we're going to have to switch it up. We can't do things the way it used to be doing. I mean, now we're learning what Zoom is and all the different ways to connect virtually to folks, and using the technology. And so, we got to move with it. And so, yeah, if you have some ideas, by all means, reach out to us. You can reach me at Madison Square Boys and Girls Club, Melton, SMELT, at madisonsquare.org. Pitch something to us. If it's about young people and, developing their skills, ability for the years ahead, we want to be able to do that. And I'll just throw something at you, kind of interesting. We were talking with Marriott recently, and I'll throw this out to anybody that may be listening to Soul Lounge and say, look, I have a young person, I want to get involved in an opportunity. The travel and tourist industry has this unbelievable growth over the next 10 years. They're talking about over 120 million jobs, globally for that. And so one of the things that Marriott has done, particularly to work with the Black and brown youngsters, is they have this sort of program where they will take you into a training program. So if you're interested in getting into the travel industry, I would tell you, go to Marriott, look at their website, and they will take you regardless of background. Some folks say, well, gee, if you're a young person and you were involved in the juvenile justice system, that may limit you in terms of what jobs you can get. You may not have a high school diploma. I dropped out. Can I still find a job? What can I do? I would tell you, if you're interested in the travel and tourism industry and the possibly of growing and developing that, look to an organization like Marriott, and you can go to their website and check them out. But they have a wonderful program where they take you in at entry-level positions and allows you to sort of grow and develop within that company, and then take it in a number of different directions where potentially it could go. So if it's the food industry, if it's in the service side, if it's in the maintenance side, if it's in management, there are a lot of opportunities. So when I heard about that one, that's an idea of one that we wanted to work with and begin to refer youngsters to it, because we have a lot of youngsters that the reality is that they're not in school for whatever reason. They had to drop out because of family commitment or whatever the situation may be, and they may not be tracked to graduate high school, even though that's what we aspire youngsters to do, is to graduate high school and have a plan for the future. That may not be the reality. Some youngsters unfortunately got caught up in the juvenile justice system for whatever. They may have a background that may keep them from certain opportunities, and so it's not over for you. There's still an opportunity. There are a number of ways, to get involved and to still achieve the goals that you want to do. And at Madison, we want to work with youngsters to do that. And so, again, an idea, if that may be your background, look at the Marriott and the possibility of this global, travel and tourist industry. It's real, and it's a way, in fact, to have some great careers.
Beautiful, beautiful. Roberto, tell me about what's the Girls Club of Harlem? Let's say someone has a program that you guys haven't seen, but it looks appetizing. How do they approach you?
They can come by to our site, 145th Street. They can email me, R like Roberto, Serrano, SERRANO, at harlembgc.org. Harlem is our domain. Harlem is our home. Harlem is our entity and our focus. And start to do that, and we're open to all sorts of partners. 3 partners that we've worked with just in the past 2 months is Google, that we're developing a Code Next program to really reach out and educate as many young people as possible on coding. Apple as well, we're teaching them, speaking of coding, we're teaching them the Swift programming language, the language that Apple is trying to really expand and use. And also we partner with our local banking partners, and they're a slightly big concern, Chase. And so they've come here, met with 30 of our teams in this very building on 145th Street, where we talked about careers, and our 30 teens asked them amazing questions. This is about 20 Chase bankers. This was a national group of Chase bankers that came by and met with us. They asked outstanding questions, because in that moment, they learned that there's more to being a banker than a teller. Well, how would they know that? They had to actually meet the bankers and say, there's folks who work in not only IT, there's folks who business relations, community development, management, and all sorts of elements. And then there's both big finance, retail finance. And so that was such a powerful moment for our 30 teens and those 20 bankers. And so we are open to our local businesses and our medium-sized businesses, and of course our larger businesses, because we're really looking to connect our kids to every single opportunity, including Marriott, Hilton, Holiday Inn, Chase, Bank of America, and everybody else around the country, so our kids can really compete in this global market.
Excellent. And of course, Alexis, as you know very well about the Marriott and what's coming in terms of their Renaissance brand coming to 125th Street. So I'm have you been able to also bring some of the young people to witness your work in some of these projects? That your condo project there on 148th. Tell me about that.
Most definitely, Curtis. So our project at the Victoria Theater, which also includes the Marriott Renaissance, we were allowed to bring the kids to tour the entire building and go throughout the process, and also be there with the site super as well as my staff. And it's just, you should see their eyes light up. Because the kids are like, they want to know what's going on behind the fence. And so, normally you don't really see what's going on behind the fence. And we were able to bring them in there. They're all suited. Like I said, we partnered with Renaissance, so they have their 40-hour. They came in with all of their protective gear, and they had an opportunity to see the rooftop, all the inner workings, the Flintlock office. So it was a great experience, as well as Baldwin Park. But as you know, Baldwin Park is completed. So now we're exposing them to not only our projects, but we have partners, Brissa Builders, Artemis. And so we're able to expose them to projects on that front as well.
Nice. So NightWatchman, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Let's just listen to the great work that all these organizations are doing. I want to ask you guys, what are the biggest challenges that you're seeing that the youth are experiencing as they go through your programs?
Yeah, I'll jump on that first. I think one of the things that we're seeing a lot more too is this youngsters trying to get their true north again. Listen, we know what 2 years of a pandemic did for adults and even adults with resources and how difficult it was. And so when you 2 years, you're knocked off your game, that you're not in school, you're seeing people dying around you, people getting sick, losing family members, not having some of the supports that you normally having, seeing everything's going on. I think youngsters have lost their true north a little bit, and they're trying to find their way back in terms of how do they move forward. Is there a future for them? Looking for hope. And so I think that's a big challenge, to be able to find hope again and know that you can go forward, to know that, despite what some of the global issues and challenges were, you can sort of move forward. And I think it's part of our job as adults to let them know we stand on a great legacy and a great shoulders of men and women who had some tough times and some difficult ways forward, but they still was able to find hope and keep it moving. So we find that's a large part of what we're doing is making sure youngsters still understand that their hope is there. There still is a way forward, that we'll get past the challenges that we see in the political arena and with the social justice and even with the health concerns. And so it's giving youngsters hope and letting them know there is a way forward. And don't give up. Don't fall to the false hope that there's no way forward. There is a way forward, and there's plenty of people around you to move that forward. I think that's one of them that we find, and I think combined with that is all the issues around. We hear a lot of it, but mental illness, and we see that in a lot of ways with young people as well too. Where they're having what we see forms of depression and being able to have frustrations and tension and depression in terms of not knowing what's happening in the world. That's a big piece of it as well too. So we're keeping our eye on it because we believe that that there's still issues with young people that we're going to see in the months and years ahead. It's not all going to just sort of culminate. COVID is over and now the worst is behind us. We got to keep an eye on young people and make sure they not only have hope, but they continue to have the resources they can need more than ever to move forward.
Gotcha. Well, you know what, Roberto, please tell me about some of the challenges that you guys were facing there at your clubhouse there.
Simply put, the pandemic exacerbated what was already happening in our community and our society as a whole. It made things worse. It made it larger. It made it feel even harder with growing poverty, growing homelessness, a school to prison pipeline that seems to be expanding, and the educational challenges where are our kids learning enough to be able to succeed. That was already happening before the pandemic. The pandemic just made it worse. And so, in school, there's this concept recess, which is a break. A recession isn't a break. It's that something is broken. And there's a real sense in so many elements of our institutions, and most critically, our young people's appreciation of those institutions is broken. And so we have to rebuild that and say, you know what? It's not just about hope. First, we got to give you a reason to have hope. And that's one thing that's critical to the Boys and Girls Club model and the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem's implementation is the importance of hope. But that's just the first thing. That's like having the first course. The actual meal is a plan. We got to have hope and then a plan on how to accomplish that. And the first part is first stay in school. Continue to do your very best, so you're really at your own pace. We meet our kids and our families where they are, and little bit with our team of social workers, with our staff, both our club staff and our school staff. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, with our club and our school staff, we are working to really rebuild and fix those broken connections between our kids from ages 6 all the way up to 18, to give them a sense that It's going to be great. It's going to be a better future. Great futures start here in the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem and the Boys and Girls Club of America as a whole. Because you know why the future is going to be better? Because of our kids, because they're going to do better than us. We just got to help give them the tools that they already have. And so that's what we do in every single one of our programs, whether it be an academic support program, whether it be healthy lifestyles, or whether it be just plain fun. We take fun seriously here, and that's how we work hard to rebuild those institutions. Connect them with key partners, both local businesses, larger global concerns, and help them solve us. And hopefully, as they grow, they can donate back so we can continue this work, or they can work for us and we be able to expand to multiple centers within Harlem. I will gladly talk about all the additional work if you want me to, since it hasn't been
Yes.
handed off. All right,
Yeah,
that is
please.
amazing. Okay, we're really
Go
excited
right
about
ahead.
this. Okay, thank you so much. We're really excited about the stuff we're continuing to do here, both in the summer and the school year. Like I said, we had 4 sites. We're going to unveil 6 sites, both in school and our center-based programs, working with kids ages 6 to 18. So helping them do everything I've talked about, both STEM education, literacy, career, and college as well. Having our middle school kids and our 5th grade kids go on college tours in our area, so they see not only CUNY, SUNY, and private colleges. So they see all the different future opportunities, but also the critical importance of a trade. Because I tell you right now, a plumber, I think, makes a considerable amount more than me, just pound for pound. And so plumbers are outstanding trade and all sorts of other things. So we encourage folks to look at trades, which is unfortunately a declining thing. There's a real sense that we're losing the middle class and the upper middle class. And so let's prepare our kids to do that, to fill in that gap.
What? Okay. Okay. All right.
Everybody back?
Curtis, you're back. Yes. So, Alexis, I would like you to follow up and talk about that too, because your focus is also getting young people to look at trades that they never looked at. So, tell me how you interact with them to start to get them to look at these opportunities that haven't really been in their scope of view before.
Sure, Bob. One of the things that is really important, just to follow up quickly on the previous question, the some of the challenges of these youth. The first thing is that I don't know if everyone out there really understands the impact of the pandemic. It's not just on socially, but some of these kids have lost family members that contributed to the household and that they were very close to. In addition to youth losing their income from the summer work programs, we the challenge for us also is just to make sure, Mayola Bolton is our leadership and development manager on the bottom line construction side, and she works really closely with the kids. She has a really great background, and she's been with the WNBA. She's got collegiate coaching experience, and so that has really helped the kids. They really connected to her, and that consistency was really important because I think they were lacking that since the pandemic. And then the other thing is we struggled with making sure they had a safe, clean, cultivating sort of environment. So space was an issue and being consistent. So we really kind of struggled around that as well, just FYI. So we will be tapping on our partner's door to coordinate and collaborate for space for our upcoming cohort in October. So, but as far as the good thing about us is, so we expose them to trades as well, but our focus is on the back office piece, the project management piece, the site super piece, and really getting them to understand things like the basics of architectural drawings and how to understand what specifications are so that they can be, really great team players in the field and in the office. So we talk about takeoffs, AutoCAD, software, because especially post pandemic, software is on steroids. So technology is on steroids, and just exposing them to the multiple platforms that the construction industry uses, is pretty challenging, even for those of us who are somewhat tech savvy and able to understand various software. So that just bringing them on site, they definitely get access to the trades. And just like uh, previously noted, plumbers make a lot of money. The trades do very well. My background is cardiothoracic nursing. They make more than me. So I'm like telling the kids, I'm like, these trades are extremely important. They're important to our workforce, but also it's important that they understand how the trades communicate with that back office, because a trade doesn't get on site until that site is built. So we're sort of there, and then we have to work closely with the trades to get the job done. And so that's sort of been our focus, Bob.
And Alexis, tell me also about this, because you have the dual challenge of running your for-profit construction business while also running this program for the youth. And how do you balance your time and energy and focus to be able to achieve what you do in both spheres?
Thank you for that question, Bob. Managing both the construction for-profit side with the nonprofit side, and considering, the nonprofit side is sort of a baby, it has been like a baby. um, as the even on the for-profit side, we are mission driven, and we, I've always felt a strong sense of sort of service to the communities that we're in, communities that look like us, that have been sort of disenfranchised and ignored for many years. So, for me, it's sort of tireless, it is exhausting, but it has to be done. Somebody has to do the work. And we feel we're in a good place. We're not huge, but we understand the challenges of a construction and development company. We understand that our community is not involved as I would like them to be. So this is really a passion of ours, and the youth summer work program. We had already been a member. We had already participated, and that's how we actually this program was born. We participated with that program, summer youth program, work program, for at least 3 to 5 years prior. So this for us, for me, it feels like it must be done. And so the hardest part is raising funds, sort of stumping basically for these kids, because when I tell you, I know we made a huge difference. We have the graduation, we're the benefactor of a golf outing, and we're going to have graduation that evening. So I mean, it's so needed, and I mean everybody on this call today is so wonderful and providing so much work. It's just not enough can be done, Bob. Not enough.
Mm, absolutely. Well, I mean, folks, definitely, like you say, summer is upon us. Stuff is starting to heat up, but it's so very important to keep young people engaged because, Steve, we certainly do know that old adage, the devil is a playground, and an
Mm-hmm.
idle mind,
That's
that's
right. That's right.
not
So
good.
true. So true. So
Exactly.
true. I just want to take on something that Alexis said, and I think it's so true, is that in many of our communities, too many of our communities, we have underinvested. And now it's
Mm,
time to overinvest. overinvest in our families, overinvest in our young people to ensure they get the services they need. And it's really going to take, individuals like all of us who are really concerned doing the work and reaching back and make sure we look at our young people and we bring them forward. It's work to be done out there, and we need, and I appreciate Alexis's comment that it's tireless work, and I'm glad there's sisters out there like her that can go the profit route, with a mission. But at the same time, realize that there's some other nonprofit work that has to be done as part of those organizations that they have, to move the needle for our young people. So, if to your point, Curtis, is that if you got an empty lot and you don't put anything in it, some weeds will grow. So we got to make sure that our young people are open, they're ready for opportunities and challenges and to try new things, and they're ready for a life like all of us are and were when we were young people. And we have to prepare to give them all types of opportunities. So it's about over and investing, bringing all kinds of resources and opportunities and ideas and concepts, so young people can take that and find their passion and go out and make the life for themselves that they want. I think that's the work that all of us have to do, and we have to be engaged in to ensure there's a next generation of youngsters, moving the needle forward.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Roberto, BX all day. Now, growing up there in the BX, were there programs like the Boys and Girls Club of Harlem identified?
Some, but not nearly as enough that really our kids needed. And so that's really why the youth development field is a critical field, and so youth development workers during the pandemic were in every shape and form essential because they provided childcare. And only during the pandemic did they realize that a huge element to school and after school and daycare is childcare, so people can go to work and people can go to school. And so that's why this field is never going to stop being critically important. And so really the way to invest in the future of our neighborhood, of our city, and of our nation is to invest in our young people. The kids that are children now, that are teens, that are preteens, that are in elementary school, they are the greatest generation. So that's really the way. If you go in with that mindset, you build a stronger neighborhood, a stronger community, a stronger nation that then is better able to solve and address a pandemic if another one comes, or an environmental disaster if that comes. We got to have strong, skilled young people who become strong, skilled, empowering, positive adults and parents and leaders. And that's what we work on. And it seems like every one of us here on this call is doing that great work, and it's not going to stop. And so this is wood that we're going to keep chopping, and a forest to build. And so that's all right, though, because the goal is a better future for us all, because we are serving the greatest generation if we put in the right tools and the right resources, and we're doing it here.
Nice, nice, nice. So, NightWatchman, you know what? I love the fact that you are always the technical savvy guy. So, thank you for rescuing me from the abyss. I have to give you a shout out there. So,
Rescue me, rescue you. We all have one of those days. Alexis talked about it. No matter how tech savvy we are, there's always so much challenges. And that's why the work that you guys are doing is so important, because we have youth that are coming up that are probably more tech savvy than we are because they grew up native in it.
So
but
true.
What they don't have is an understanding of business and industry and places that they can take their skill set and develop it and land it. And I just look at all three of your organizations. I see you as like gold and diamond miners. That the work is hard, and you got to go through a lot of dirt and rubble, but at the end of it is these gems. It's the gold and platinum and diamonds that we have in these youth, because there's so much talent, there's so much imagination and innovation, and I am just greatly appreciative of the work that you all are doing to unlock that that innovation and imagination and put these youth on a track so that they can create wealth and opportunity for themselves.
Absolutely. I guess one of the things I got to say, and Alexis, you brought it up before in terms of, let's say, with the remote learning, there was sometimes, I guess, a disconnect with the young people and doing it that way. But you know what? That's not going away.
Oh,
That is absolutely, if one thing the pandemic has exposed, it's that those who can remote learn will remote learn, and also, as I say, work remotely as well. I mean, is that something or whatnot that I guess in this course now construction? No, you got to be hands on. There's no remote there. You are an essential worker. You got to keep that going. But I'm wondering, in you guys, Steve and Roberto, is that something that you guys tackle?
Yeah, it's interesting that, and again, I talked about over investing, and we got to think about that because one of the things that we saw during the pandemic, particularly when the schools were going toward this remote learning, man, what they
Mm-hmm.
forgot is that many of our kids didn't have the technology.
Mm,
They
mm,
didn't have the
mm,
hardware to do it. That some of them didn't have the savvy, or the parents may not have had that. They
mm,
didn't even have the internet connection. They didn't have fast Wi-Fi service,
mm,
right? They
right.
wasn't, they were having drop offs, and the internet wasn't good, or they may not have had the money to pay their bills, and that wasn't there.
Mm,
So we got to
mm,
look at how that works. It can work, and it definitely is a way forward to be used. But we got to make sure that we got to even the playing field. In New York City, not everybody has internet access. Not
mhm,
everybody
mhm,
has fast internet service to be able to use. They don't have the necessary hardware. We were working with some young people that was when we were trying to connect with them, they were using their phones, right?
mm,
Kind of
mm,
difficult to use a phone and really be in a workshop or try to learn as much as
mhm,
they wanted to, and that's the problem. So we have to look at that and make sure again we invest in communities the right way, so when we move toward this technology, the more we move toward it, that we have the communities that we serve, the communities that have been underserved, have everything they need to sort of connect with it too. And so I'm really happy to say that if you're a young person and you're in North Central Harlem and you need some support with technology, with the hardware, internet connection, we have wonderful tech center in our Pinkerton clubhouse, and we encourage young people. If you need to go online and look for a job, if you have an opportunity to do some learning, but you say, hey, I don't have the necessary connection at home or where I'm living to be able to do it, you can come to the Boys and Girls Club. We have a tech lab. We can set you up. We have laptops. We can give you that connection you need. We can give you some of the training necessary to do that. So that's just so important. So we just got to keep that in mind. Yet the technology is there, but in too many cases, it has not reached underserved communities that we're located in. It's just not there as it relates to that. We heard one story, and unfortunately, it was coming from many different sources
mhm,
where they were saying that parents could go and families could go get free internet service, but when
mm.
they connected up with that, the provider was a provider that the company was using, was the family was using, and they hadn't paid their bill. So one of the
Wow.
connections, oh, if you owe us money, you can't get the free service.
Oh
So
my
it was kind of
God.
crazy. So it was
Wow.
saying, oh, this free service is out there, but you couldn't get. So it was a catch-22. If you already
Yes.
had us and you owe us a bill, then you can't get the free service. So we got to make sure that things are aligned for young people to have the support that they need to be able to use this great technology,
Mhm.
which is remote learning and the ability to be able to do it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Roberto, same.
The virtual work is going to continue, virtual education is going to continue, and so that's definitely an avenue, that's a subject, and it's a tool that more and more of our families um, should learn about and really gain competency and gain skills. The points that Steve make are outstanding as far as access. And so what we're doing is not only teaching our young people to maintain and still have competency in that skill to work virtually, particularly this summer, but also with our school sites, because we have Boys and Girls Clubs of Harlem in 4, soon to be 6 sites
Mhm.
throughout all of Harlem. And so what we're going to do is continue this work by having family meetings and parent training. And so that's where there'll be in-person programs for our parents, but also virtual trainings, not only in a whole bunch of subjects such as health, such as how to help your young child do better in school, but also in the technical field as well, because families need that as much as the kids. And so that's something that Boys and Girls Club of Harlem takes very seriously, because the virtual stuff is going to continue. It's only going to expand. So why not make sure that our kids are on pace with the rest of the world? It's a global market, and so everything that everyone else is going to do, Harlem should do as well. Harlem should keep up with it. So we're going to do that here on 145th Street.
Beautiful, beautiful. Alexis, do tell, in terms of, we know it's not going away. So how you gonna rise to meet that challenge?
So, like I said, we struggled
Mm,
initially, and you know, the kids did suffer because a lot of them didn't have the technology or access to the laptops. They were using their phone. So I don't know if you can imagine trying to, go over an AutoCAD lesson and they only have their phone,
Right.
and how
mm,
to, when they had exercises and breakout sessions to do drawings, is really difficult. So in our industry, virtual work is essential,
mm-hmm.
especially from the back office perspective. So if you are a construction office manager, which is something we introduce them to, or you are a site super, you're a project manager, all of those fields, architecture, engineering, there are a lot of them are working remote as well. And so there's software, technology, and tools that they have to utilize in order to get their job done. So our job is to make sure they understand that. And you know, to Stephen's point, they're much more savvy than we are. So they're like, Miss Alexis, get the Zoom. You're supposed to do this. I'm like, okay. So they're very helpful, and I think they're up for the challenge. They just need exposure. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
they need consistency right now, considering what we've gone through. They need exposure and the
Beautiful.
tool. And I mean, soft skills like just trying to we're trying to raise funds to get them light rings just to make sure they're appearing professionally for all of their interviews. To get into our program, they had to do a lot. They had to get a referral from their guidance counselor or the principal. They had to get, parental consent. They had to have an agreement to agree to, participate so that we both know what we're getting into. It was a lot for them to get into the program. And so
Mhm.
now they have to be prepared to present and be able to work virtually if they get the opportunity, or even have interviews and meetings. So that's extremely important. And like Roberto said, it's not going anywhere.
Beautiful, beautiful. Night Watchman, do take us home. You're on mute. Bobby Bob, you're on mute.
Work that you guys are doing, and we are here to support you in any way we can. We definitely will have you all back at some point in time.
Yes.
Um, uh, just keep on doing what you're doing. And so this has been Soul Lounge Prime Time on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. You can also find us live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. We're always on Monday nights, 7 o'clock on the radio, 8 o'clock on the internet. And so thank you. And we
Thank-
encourage everybody to please support these organizations, the Boys and Girls Clubs, and support Bottom Line Construction and
yes.
their youth opportunity. And we put all their contact information. So go back and check the stream. Use those email addresses. Send them resources. Find them some money because
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
Bob, can I throw out a little commercial before we close out there too? We're always looking for professionals. So you go to
mhm.
Madison's website, www.madisonsquare.org. We're looking for folks who are really committed to doing the youth development work. So if you got some experience, and we're looking for you. So we have several positions open. There's a place for you in the Boys and Girls Club. So I'm sure
Ah.
Roberto's looking for some folks as well too. There are those opportunities. But I will tell you, if you consider this work, bring your ESP. We need folks with experience. We need folks with skills, and we need folks with passion, because young people need that. You got to bring the energy. So bring your ESP, bring the experience you have working. You'll bring that skill set that you have, a real life skill set, and bring a passion, because young people need it and they expect that from us. So look us up. There are some great work to be done with young people to make the change in our community. So check us out for work if you're looking.
All right.
Beautiful. Thank you all. And
thank you all.
As I said, support them all.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.